I know it is important to open your hips so that they can clear out of the way of the hands dropping through the hitting area. My question is, in the setup, where should my shoulders line up to? Do they line up with the target, or should they line up with my hips? All right, Sean, great question. We're not just going to talk about what you do in chipping. We're going to talk about pitching, okay? All right, so the first thing that you have to do, and this is really important, particularly for those of you that are just getting going in the game or starting to understand what happens in short shots, what you have to understand is you're trying to hit a short shot. So in order for me to hit a short shot, the most critical thing that you can do is you can take loft off the face. So this is a pitching wedge right here. The loft on my pitching wedge is about 47 degrees. What I want to do to hit the ball lower is I want to take loft off. And you can see when I take the loft off the face, now all of a sudden the shaft of the club leans forward. So I would get set up normally to hit a pitching wedge, and I would look like this. Now I'm going to take loft off of the face. So I want to lean the shaft forward, take loft off the face. Well, right now, I look a little bit kind of discombobulated here. So what I want to do to accommodate that is I'm just going to take my back foot, and I'm going to bring it up here so that it points to the ball. I left my left foot right where it was. I left my ball position right where it was. All I did was lean the shaft up like this and bring my foot right up there like that. Now that looks pretty good with one exception. I want to get a little bit closer to the ball. And we're going to talk about why that's so important when we get into pre-swing. But I want to get a little bit closer to the ball. So I'm in here now like this. And then once we get closer, now I want to grip down. So my feet are roughly just a little bit bigger than the size of the head of the golf club, right like that. And my back foot is right up here and it's pointed to the ball. Now, in order for me to lift my back foot up to that point, I have to shift my weight so I can lift this foot and put it up. What I want you to do is when you shift your weight, I want you to get a sense of how much weight you feel like you've got on that left foot or lead foot. So when I go up there like this, now I can put this down. I don't want you to recenter your weight. I want you to stay right there on that lead side. So we go up here like this. Lean the shaft, pick this up like this, and keep our weight right there. Now, that's where we're going to be when we get set up to hit this proper chip shot. For a pitch shot, it's slightly different. When you're hitting a pitch shot, and you get into the terminology of a chip or a pitch, I just like to say small and a little bit bigger, okay? That's a little bit easier for you. When you hit a chip, you're making a swing that's very small. It's almost like a putting stroke with a lofted club. When you hit a pitch, this is when the club starts to have a little up to it. We might even get a hinge of the club, and the head of the club is going to get above that handle. That's really going to be what happens when we hit a pitch shot. We're hitting a chip shot, the head of the club is going to stay below the handle. It's going to be down here like this, and there's really not much that goes on with the wrists. So what happens with the pitch shot is, again, we're going to do the same thing, only this time, when this foot comes up, we're just going to move it so that that toe is pointing behind the ball, all right? And in effect, what we've done by doing that is we're keeping that ball maybe a little bit more forward in the stance. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to let that weight settle a little bit into the right side. There's not going to be as heavy a lead side weight distribution. We're going to be just a little bit more, maybe if it's 80% of your weight with a chip shot, it's going to be 60 or 65% with a pitch shot. Because what we want is, as this club starts to go this way, the body has to accommodate to that. So there's going to be a little bit of turning going on. And if you're sitting solely on your left side here, it's very difficult for you to shallow the arc of the shot when your weight is so heavy on that left side, okay? So I'm going to go over this again for you. So we're trying to hit a low shot just like this. We're going to take the club, we're going to lean the club forward like that. As we accommodate ourselves to that, this foot comes up and it points to the ball. This is for the chip shot. The stance is just a little bit wider than the head of the club there, and your weight is on the left side. You're closer to the ball on this, all right? What I want you to do is I want you to get in here, and Raymond Floyd, who was a fantastic wedge player, said you can never be too close to the ball when you're hitting these shots. The reason, obviously, is that as you get close to the ball like that, that's going to keep the club head on the line, which we're going to talk to that in the pre-swing. So we're up here like this. We're a little bit closer to the ball like that. And then the body line, which goes back to Sean's question, the body lines are all parallel, but they're just a little bit left. Now, what happens is when we move that this way, the club face is going to be just slightly open. In effect, what it's going to be is it's going to be pointing at the target, but as we open up our stance here, we're going to be left of that. So, Sean, to answer your question, shoulders, hips, knees, and feet are all parallel to one another, but they are, for the right-handed player, they are left of the target. So the club face is open relative to our body lines, but it's square to the target that we've got. And then the pitching motion, we're just bringing the foot up just a little bit, so it's about 2 club heads for the pitch, and then we're going to get maybe a little bit farther from it and let it go, okay? All right, we're going to take a break right here. When we come back, we're